Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone is fantastic. Hello and welcome. My name is Coach Kalloo, aka Kyle Kalloo. If you don't know, I always remember that. I always think that people know who they're talking to, but I'm being told that I have to mention that each time. So, welcome, everyone. I am so excited for this Monday Mindset meeting. And I know you think I say that all the time, but I really don't, because today is Moji Ajele, the executive director for BNI Alberta South, and we're going to meet her in a second. But before we do that, please use the chat box. Let us know where you're at, what kind of business are you in, where are you in the world, and we want to be able to let Moji and I know kind of who's in the room, so to speak, and then we'll be able to go from there. A quick rundown for those who are joining us for the first time. Thank you. Where have you been? You should have always been here, but I'm glad you're here now. We have tons of other opportunities to get you caught up, so we'll give you that information later. The Monday Mindset meeting is really simple. It's 30 minutes of us really getting into detail with the subject matter expert here with Moji, when we're going to chat a little bit about building profitable relationships. We'll talk a little bit about, what is the core? What is the mindset that one needs to have when thinking about building profitable relationships, as well as we're going to be talking about what are some actions that you could be taking this week that would be imperfect inspired actions. Those are some of the things we want you to be able to focus on, because sometimes there's so many moving pieces and we just don't know what to look at, pretty much what actions to take. So we're definitely going to help you out with that. After the meeting, we'll do, just before the end, we'll do a quick wrap up, maybe take some questions if you do have some, or comments. Feel free at any time to leave that information in there, as well as Moji's going to stick around for an extra 10, 15 minutes to answer any additional questions you may have. And this is a great opportunity to really pick her brain when it comes to this. And stuff like that. So we definitely want you to be action-packed. We'll give you some information to contact Moji at the end and see what Moji's up to. We'll also include my information, and we encourage you to share this along. Catherine, did I miss anything? Like, do I have enough to say in the beginning? Thank you. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get right into meeting Moji Ajele, direct out of Vancouver. She is live in Vancouver, so we know it is got awful early. But let me just tell you a little bit about Moji. Focused, energetic, and purpose-driven, Moji Ajele entered university at the age of 14. Yes, that's right. Graduating with a master's degree in civil engineering. This training is a huge part of her love for systems and efficiencies in all aspects of life. Moji has been an executive director with BNI for about 8 years, and at this time helped thousands of businesses owners across Southern Alberta. Their business, with their business referrals, so that they can live the life they truly dream of. Did you also know that over 270,000 businesses around the world utilize BNI Network to generate valuable sales referrals? That is a big number. In recognition of her outstanding contributions, Moji was named Director of the Year and Givers Gain Award winner for 3 out of the last 10 years by BNI Canada. She has more awards, but it's not listed here. We don't have that time. Remember, I said 30 minutes. Her burning desire is to continue to help business owners succeed faster than they imagined that was possible. She's happily married at 32 years, for about 32 years, which, interesting enough, is how old I am. Moji and her childhood sweetheart, Dahlia Ajele, have 4 awesome children who were home educated right through high school. How she does it, I don't know. They recently added a delightful little grandson to the mix, which is where she is right now visiting. Moji is an avid reader who averages a book a week, especially on the topics of health, business, personal growth. She loves reading, hiking, and traveling. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please show a wave for Moji Ajele. Good morning, Moji.
Thank you. Real pleasure to be here. Thank you for that warm introduction. And thank you all for taking the time to join us for this Mindset Monday meeting. I know it was Churchill that said, "He who is leading and nobody is following is just taking a walk." So we're glad that, that Kyle and I have you with us this morning. And together we hope to learn and gain some insights to help us be better business people.
I love that. I mean, interesting enough, you mentioned Churchill. I mean, that guy knows when you talk about even running a country, like
Yeah.
the stuff that the decisions. I don't know if there's anyone who's read his book, his biography, as well as watched the movie. It's fascinating because I'm like,
Yep.
we're still learning that today. We're still
Indeed.
exposing to that. So Moji, building profitable relationship. We see a lot of folks. A lot of them are business owners here right now. They're all doing their business. Again, at the end of the day, cash is king, right? It's really about profitability, a lot of moving pieces on that. What does that really mean? Like when you hear that, building profitable relationships, and obviously with your plethora of experience working with people, is there anything common? Can you
Right.
save any of us today?
You know, it's really interesting. There's a second part to that title. It just got too long, and I thought, okay, we'll leave it at building profitable relationships. But for me, it's profitable relationships that also nourish your soul. So at
Mm,
the end of the day, we don't just want to build profitable relationships, but we also want to build profitable relationships in a way that's sustainable for us, in a way that replenishes us, in a way that encourages us to keep going. And when I say profitable relationships, we all know that in order to succeed in life, whether you're in business or work for someone else, you will need to build relationships with the people you meet along the way. And it's people who help us get to the next level that we want to go to. And it's knowing how to build those relationships that help us accomplish our goals. That's what this is all about. And so, yeah, looking
I
forward.
love that, Moji. When you talk a little bit about it's almost like you're saying you got to get something out of it too, right? Because if
Mm-hmm,
it's only
mm-hmm.
one-sided,
Right,
you and I both know it's not sustainable,
right.
right? Because at some point you're like, okay, money, 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 like it's sucking me dry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what you're saying is, although you're doing those things, you kind of have to check in that what is feeding you back, right? Outside
Absolutely.
of that money. Is that what you meant with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the relationships. Actually, I might as well go into some of the ideas that I wanted to share. And for me, in revisiting and reevaluating the relationships that I have in life, I think it really started with me working on me, and really identifying where do I want to go in life? Why am I on this planet? In the words of Steve Jobs, he said, I want to put a dent in the universe.
Mm.
And that resonates with me. I believe that we can all put a dent in the universe in the sense of we are here for a purpose. And by knowing what that original purpose is, it becomes a lot easier for me to go out and connect with the people that I need to connect with in order to get to where it is I really want to go. So it begins with that deep inner foundational work, is the way I put it. And it is one that is very easy um, to bypass
Hmm.
because we're in such a hurry to get to the next level or to get to the next client. I forget who it was who said there is nothing worse than climbing the ladder of success and discovering that it is leaning against the wrong wall, right? So
Yes, I
you
think that was Kyle
really
Kalloo who said that. Yes, I like that.
um, well, let's go with that. How's that? But it is that foundational work, right? That really helps you identify, okay, who it is, whose life will be different
Hmm.
because I did what I was supposed to do. I think really starting with that foundation helps us ensure that the relationships that we are building are the right ones and that they will actually get us to where it is that we truly want to go.
Moji, you really tapped on the purpose statement right there, right? Because that's really
Mm-hmm.
what it is. Because
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing that we often talk about as coaches as well is that, purpose is what gets you up in the morning. So when you say to yourself, who really needs me on my A game today? Where am I going to put a dent today? Who am I going to serve? Who am I going to do this thing? Why am I going to really do it?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is what keeps you coming back to it. I know my clients know I talk about purpose and passion all the time because we often say passion is fleeting, right? It
Mm-hmm.
gets you started. Make no mistake, it's important, but you do have to have somewhere for it to land, right? And it
Absolutely.
needs to land into purpose because then you know why you're doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how do we get into, if we're talking about some key steps, some things that people need to know when you think about that mindset of, so we got the piece around, got to get clear on the purpose. Now, how does one go around building relationship? Because we've seen some people who are authentic.
Mm-hmm.
and some people who are not, right? It's like, hi, how are you? You're doing good? Okay, great. Can you buy this now? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
Yeah. And, I think that the second key piece for me, and for those of you, I see some familiar faces on the call,
mhm,
people who are in BNI, it's that whole give as gain mentality. So
mhm,
you start with that foundation, and whether you call it the golden rule or karma,
mhm,
it is that understanding that I will only succeed in life to the extent that I help other people.
mhm,
Period. End of story. If it's all about me, it's not going to take very long before it all gets really old. I once heard someone say, if you lined 200 people, you put 200 people along a wall, and you started trying to help each and every one of them, you're not going to get very far before somebody turns around and says, hey, Kyle, how can we help you in return? But if you put 200 people against a wall and you try to sell to every single one of them, chances are you're not going to be alive by the time you're done, right? It's that whole concept. Nobody likes to be sold to.
yes.
Nobody likes that person who's so busy trying to get out as many business cards as they can, trying to attend as many networking events as they can, that they're not keeping track. For them, it's just a numbers game. People are not numbers, and nobody likes to be treated like one. And so it really begins again with us knowing that, okay, I need to build relationships, but I need to value the people with whom I'm building the relationships, and I need to treat them with respect and with dignity, and to go out of my way to help them, because guess what, you're not going to be able to stop the flood of
Mhm.
people wanting to help you in return when you go out with that kind of mindset. I truly think that that's the second piece of the puzzle.
Moji, why do you think we miss that piece though? Why do you think we
Mm,
get so caught up in and we hear it all the time, it's better to give than to receive. And it's not new. No one here, remain seated, right? If you've never heard that before,
right,
right? It's like we've heard that time and time again, but why is it so difficult to actually serve before taking?
right. It's really interesting. I think post COVID, things are going to be very, very
Mhm.
different than they were before we went
Absolutely.
in. I think we had built a world that was just so frantic. We were all running around like,
Mhm.
I don't know, hamsters in a wheel, for lack of a better
Yeah.
term. And I think we just lost sight of what was important, at the end of the day. And, we got caught up in all the, business is a numbers game. And we started to go out and try and do those things, forgetting basically all those things we learned in kindergarten, right? It's be kind, be nice, treat people the way you want to be treated. And I think with the slowdown, or the great reset, as some people have come to call it, I
Mhm.
think a lot of us are starting to think a little bit more about these things, and are starting to reevaluate. And I really think I want to believe that the world, that as we reopen, that we will reopen in a much kinder, both to ourselves and to others, and in a just more present way, as we move along. I truly believe that the cutting out a lot of the frenzy is
Right.
going to make a difference with that. Right.
So you're saying if someone starts, the most effective way to start this relationship building is really finding a way how you can give to them, how you could
Absolutely.
either learn about them, leverage about them, give them something they need. Oftentimes we do hear that expression quite regular about, people don't like to be sold to, and we don't. But here's what's interesting: we do love to buy, though. So
Mm-hmm.
what is happening, right? So
Mm-hmm.
people are buying, and they're buying because they have those profitable relationships, right? That's who they buy from.
Right, right. Well, it's back to that know, like, and trust, right?
Mhm,
All things being equal,
mhm,
we like to do business with people we know, like, and trust. I would rather ask Kyle or
mhm,
John for a
mhm,
referral to
mhm.
someone who does a great job than go on Google or any other
Right.
means, because I don't know what's going to happen on the other end of that kind of,
Mhm,
referral, quote unquote. But I know if I've asked you for a referral, and you've sent me to someone, that there's that borrowed credibility, right? And so really starting with that basis of trust, I think is that's the thing that we love to buy. We just don't want to feel like somebody's choking it down our throat. Like
Right.
we've all had that experience where someone was such a good salesperson, they sold us something we didn't need.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person, because at the end of the day, the person walks away and they're like, I just spent $10,000 or whatever it was
Right.
of money that I didn't need and couldn't afford to lose. Like, how many times are you going to make that kind of sale before people figure out that you're not sincere, kind of like you mentioned at the very beginning? So we want to be, people who make a difference, who help people purchase by educating them and making that right connection when the time comes. And what truly makes those relationships profitable is that when that person is that satisfied, they're going to go out and shout it on the rooftops.
Absolutely.
They're not only going to buy from you, they're going to tell their kid and their kids' friends. And before you know it, that one sale is multiplying right back to you, because you've done it in a way that is ethical and that's sincere and that truly makes a difference and adds value to the other person.
Moji, that is the secret sauce, right?
Mm.
That is a secret sauce on profitability, that thing that just keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And we've all done it. I mean, there's stats for those fact checkers who are on here or listening to us right now. It's 87% of people will do business via referral of some sort. It's very rare they're just going to pick a name out of a hat and boom. They're going to talk to someone. They're going to read something. They're going to want to look for something. And when you see those testimonies, those Google reviews that says, oh my God, this saved my life, it solved my problem, blah, 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 blah. That is what we do. And we all do it. We go back home and says, look at this thing that I just bought. Look, I got a great deal. I love the guy who helped me out. I love the lady who really talked to me and gave me the information. Constantly talk about those things, right? We're not saying, let me just tell you, Moji, his sales thing was on point. He had all this information. His schooling was like this. He grew up here. Like, no one cares about those things. It's really about, did that connect with me? And that's what a relationship is.
Absolutely. Actually, you just reminded me of another favorite phrase of mine. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? That's what it is, right? So whether we are, just in the store making a purchase, or we're about to, purchase our first home, or do something really big, it's the caring. It's me knowing that you care about me as a human being, that not only encourages me to purchase from you, but to go on the rooftops and become a raving fan of yours and talk about you on and on and on.
Because I thank you for that, Moji, because I know some of the folks who are on here, and I know sometimes some of the struggles they go through. Folks, if you have questions specifically for Moji or myself, please pop those in the chat room or any comments. Moji, we know a lot of entrepreneurs, business owner operators, they get a lot of this stuff. Trust me, it's sometimes a struggle to stay present every day in it. But how do they lead other people in the organization to also walk that walk, right? And also care enough, also want to give back, also want to solve problems for the ideal customer, because it can't just be the business owner, right?
Right. What's really interesting, I took a course with Vern Harnish of Scaling Up. Some of you may be
Love it.
familiar with him. And he talks about the fact that the way you treat your employees or your team is the way that team is going to treat your clients. So if you want your team to care about your clients, care about your team. Treat them with respect. Treat them the way you want to be treated. And before you know it, that starts to trickle down. And also have conversations with your team as to, what does service look like? What do you, when you walk into an establishment or an organization, how would you like to be treated? And how can we be those people who serve our clients in that same way? And also, I would say, reward that mindset of the members of the team constantly looking for better ways that we as team members can serve our clients and make their life easier. And I think that all of those things will make a difference in the way the team responds and the way the team treats the clients.
And what you touched on there, Moji, at least what I heard in my head, the story I tell myself is about creating the environment that it can be building profitable relationships, right? If you don't have an environment, and that's the thing that people see through if it's not authentic, right? If you say one thing and then you turn around and you talk underneath your breath to your team and they
Mm,
hear what you say, right? That environment is not conducive for you to really build those profitable things, right? And this way you have people, everyone in the team could be able to do it, instead of the dependency sometimes is created where people say, you know what, I'm only going to talk to Vicky because Vicky's the only one who knows, right? You
right,
don't want that, because you can't be there day in, day out. You want, you know what, anyone, just phone the number. Anyone you pick up the phone will be able to help you.
absolutely. Yeah. And our clients need to have that consistency. They should be able to experience the same thing, whether they're talking to the CEO or they're talking to the person at the front desk, or they're talking to any member of the team. That consistency should be there. You do not want an organization where, but John treats them with respect, but Moji
Mhm.
doesn't, or Kyle treats them with the respect, and then the other person doesn't, and they just never know from day to day to day
Cool.
what the experience is going to be. That is the last thing we want in order to build profitable relationships with our clients, with our vendors. There needs to be that consistency. There needs to be that culture that is basically that permeates the entire organization. And the other thing we want to say is, do people have fun on your team? is is
Mhm.
is it a great, do your staff, do your team members wake up in the morning think, I can't wait to go hang out with the people at work today? We need to build workplaces that nourish people, that build the excitement, right, of coming to do what it is that we do. And I get it, there's the daily grind. Not every day is Christmas. We get that. But at the same time, many of us spend more time with our team members than we do with the members of our family. And it is very important that time is time that we look forward to and have fun with one another. And that's back to the soul nourishing part
Right.
of the relationships that we build, because I think they really do go hand in hand. If we don't nourish the soul, it's just a matter of time before, the money or whatever else it is that we define as profitable, it's no longer enough, right?
Yeah.
And so really
I'm
important.
just check. Yeah, I'm just checking the screen here. Just I wanted to see if Kath was nodding her head when you're talking about fun there, and just making sure, because if she's not, then
Oh, Catherine, you can tell us what's really going on.
when Christopher's on shift.
uh,
No, Moji, I really like that. And so if you had to sum up for everyone to say, listen, for this week, for the rest of this week, right? Because we're really starting off now. And if you'd like to get a hold of Moji, we're going to put her information up there in a second, as well as reaching out to myself. But Moji, what can some folks be thinking about this week? Because we heard a lot of great stuff, right? About, the relationship, making sure profitability is not just money profit, it's soul profit, it's engagement profit, right? And then also for your people. However, what are some things that you'd say if people can take these, it doesn't have to be 16 things, right? It's one or two things. What can they do starting as soon as they get off this call? What can they do?
Love it. One of the things I highly encourage that you do this week is reset. Take a deep breath. Give yourself 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes to do that. 5 year from today, what does my business look like? Who am I impacting? Whose life is different because I got up each day and did what I said I was going to do? Zero in on that. And if you can do a 5 minute daily check-in with yourself to just say, here's what success looks like. It really it's like a GPS that sets you on track and reminds you when to recalculate and get back online with that vision that you set out to do in the first place. And just by doing that, there will be more being than doing, which is that thing that Kyle talked about, the fact that we all know this is right, but we don't do it. Well, to get the being, we need to zero in. We really need to dial in with ourselves on the inside and figure out where it is that we want to go. Because believe me, when you know where it is you want to go, you've probably heard that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. all of a sudden people start showing up for you that you never even thought were there, and things start dialing in a little bit better. So I'd say take that 5 minutes and really figure out, what does success look like today? What does it look like this week? And you'll start to see things fall in line with building great relationships.
Moji, I love that. If I could add to that, it's being able to slow down and ask yourself the right question. Is
Mm-hmm.
to ask yourself the right question. And so you can do that in many ways, by deliberately asking yourself, by having someone as a confidant that you could say, here's what's going on, ask me some questions about that. Because I think that's the piece that we do miss, right? And sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
earlier you mentioned about what we defined as success. Everyone's looking at step 6 of success, right? No one, and the idea is to look at step 1. You cannot see clearly step 6 if you haven't done 1, 2, 3. And interesting enough, do you find that, Moji, sometimes step 6 just keeps moving? It keeps moving because, like, I thought I
Especially
wanted
if I
that.
don't have step 1. Yeah, exactly.
It
Yeah.
just keeps going, right? So
Right.
you get to a point where you have to be able to do that, and that's why, I love the analogy. I know, Moji, you hear me say it quite often about, on an aircraft, right? You have to put on your own mask before assisting
Mm-hmm.
others. And
Mm-hmm.
so those are some of the things I think when Moji mentioned about, resetting is, do you have your mask on? Is your mask on before you can go out there and show up to the employees, or show up to the customer, or show up even for yourself, right? Do you have your mask on? Moji, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're
My
going to be sticking
pleasure.
around. Lots of great information. Folks, please let me know, please let us know in the chat what resonated with you the most. Just before Moji does a quick wrap up here, what resonated with you the most in today's meeting? What is one thing that really stuck with you, that you're still thinking about, or you want more information on, that you're going to be taking away from today? We always love to go through these comments after and just see what's resonating for people, or not, or if there's an opportunity, maybe we missed it altogether. And again, this is Moji's second time back, because obviously she did such a great job the first time. Do I hear a third time from Moji? Let us know if I hear a third time back from Moji by letting us know. Moji, anything you'd like to let people know? Because I know, like, BNI is a chapter. What does that look like? Anything you'd like us to know just before we close out here?
Right. The one thing I did want to add before I
Mhm.
talk a little bit about BNI is, use a system. Uh, your system could be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet that you actually develop to stay in touch with clients and to continue to build those relationships, or it could be your full-blown CRM. But whatever that is, create a system that you love, that you enjoy, that you can commit to, so that on a regular basis you are remaining top of mind with your clients. Just a real quick example. I went, I'm part of a yoga studio just before COVID, that I went to basically almost every day in order to just continue to tune in with myself. And believe it or not, in the last 3 months, I have not heard, not even as much as a single email from this yoga studio, which just really just blew my mind as to, how do you as an entrepreneur not continue to just look for ways to say, here's what we're doing next. So don't be that business owner. Be that business owner that has a system to stay in touch, to continue to nurture those relationships. Make sure that your clients aren't only hearing from you when you want to collect money from them. That's just not a good way to build ongoing profitable relationships. But real quick, I am the franchise owner for BNI in Southern Alberta. And this is exactly what I do. I love helping entrepreneurs connect with people who can help them get to accomplish their goals faster than they imagined possible. And I just want to leave you with that, the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you need to surround yourself with people, like-minded people, who can help you accomplish your dreams much faster than you imagined possible. So thank you again, Kyle, for the opportunity. Real pleasure to be with you all this morning, and knock it out today.
Thank you, Moji. As always, I told you guys would be inspired and uplifted by Moji. Moji, thank you. If you enjoy this Monday Mindset meeting, please share it with your friends and family. Get your mom on. I don't care. Just get someone on that you know you like and trust, and you want to be able to do that. And please reach out to Moji. And if you do have a business and you're always looking at ways to expand your network, please reach out to myself and Moji will be able to help you. If those who are sticking around for the Q&A, we're just going to do this quick outro. We'll be right back. Thank you all again. Have a fantastic week. I just realized I didn't turn off my monitor. So I was just
we saw ya.
As you know, I like to dance it up a little bit. So I found an outlet for that. Moji, thank you so much. That was really phenomenal. You know, we talk about this quite often, right? It's one thing to know, the next thing is to execute, right? And I think that's, as business owners, we do all struggle with that, right? Is how do we execute on that to be able to do that? So anyway, I really appreciate you being on this morning. Like I said, lots of business owners that's on here. Any questions for Moji or myself when you think about profitable relationships? One of the questions I would ask you guys is, what is your mental profitability? How are you gauging that? What is the profitability of the environment, of your people, right? What are those indirect profitability that you want in your organization? Where are you guys with that? If you don't know, that's a great opportunity to know, right? Which I think would be really good. Not all at once, no one? No, all at once. Before I pick on a name. See, Moji, they're thinking about some great questions for you. They're like, okay, how do we stump her, right? Or they may be thinking, they're intimidated. They're like, okay, I don't want to ask her a question. She's like, how do you not know that? Moji is not judging. She will grade you, but she will not judge you. Because remember, she did do the homeschool, right? Which is great. Where do you think Moji people get like stuck in that whole profitable relationship piece?
You know, we didn't have enough time to delve into a lot of it. I think one of the places that we actually often miss is friends and family. And I say this with, how do I want to say that? I think it can be overdone. So you want to be careful with that.
Right.
But one of the questions I ask people sometimes in a BNI meeting is, people who know you, like you, and trust you will always send you business. Truth or delusion? And believe it or not, that is a delusion.
Delusion, yeah.
A lot of us as business owners do not take the time. I used to say to them, my mom has since passed on, but I used to say to them, my mother knows me, likes me, and trusts me, but she doesn't send me business because I haven't taken the time to educate her about what I do and what would be a great referral for me. If I did, heaven help anybody passing by the streets, right? She'd be out there. Guess what? You need to talk to my daughter. You need to talk to my daughter, right? And I think oftentimes we assume that the people who know us, like us, and trust us, the people closest to us, that they know what we do and that they know what we need from them. And that may not be the case. So really important, again, as we build relationships, not to assume, actually, true example, this person came to their friend in BNI and said, Karen didn't buy this product from me, and I was pretty sure she would. She went with my competition. And the friend was like, did you talk to Karen about it? Well, it turns out Karen didn't even know she sold the product, right? And so do we talk to, we don't need to sell to them, but at the same time, it's important for us to, to enlist the help and just say, hey, here's what I do. And if you ever know someone who needs this service, I would be happy to go, the extra mile to help them and to serve them. right? So,
Yeah, I like that. I'll give you a moment to read John's question there,
okay.
Moji. One of the things I wanted to add on top of that is, and I did exactly that with my own mother, right? And I said, Mom, I know you like and trust me, I know, but you don't really know the problems and issues I solve. And here's ideally, and Moji, you'd be amazed. Like she's in the grocery store now. She's like, oh, I just started this conversation, and they've been running their business, and they're getting this, and can you help them? I was like, Mom, there's a process to this thing. But it really is when you really get people, and that was the whole idea of BNI. If you can get those other 20, 25 members to truly understand the relationships that you want to be building, the relationships you want to connect with, they're the ones who are going to connect you with those people instead of just your bio, instead of just information, right?
Right.
Because the family and friends can only mean, like, heaven bless. I mean, Christopher talks about this all the time. Like he did all these things and poor family and friends were like, okay, what is he selling now? Okay, what does he have now? Right? And they bless their heart for supporting, but they do get to a point where they're like,
Right.
okay, what business is this now? Okay, what about those pots I bought the last time? Where, what are these things, right? So it's like, how do you get to that next level by finding a little bit more out about them? Do you want to touch on John's question? And
You did talk about John stomping us, didn't you?
yeah, so
I
John
knew he
says,
was going to.
John says, because I know it makes sense to read it out just for those who are just
Right.
listening. How does mental profitability align with the Great Reset in these times when there can be extreme depression in trying to achieve business success?
Can I be honest with you, John? Um, None of us started 2020. I mean, I started this year with lofty goals, like just, I'm going to hit it through the roof. This was the year I was going to be, you know, and here we are, and I have had to just sit back and take a deep breath and go, what do my clients need? End of story for me right now. So the goals of doubling our numbers, the goals of those are all great, but right now I'm looking around me and I'm seeing clients that some people are having a hard time getting out of bed
Yeah,
simply because their makeup is such that they need to be with people physically, and that's been a little bit more difficult at this time than at any other. So how do I serve that client? I mean, I've got the clients that I run off their feet because they're in the tech industry, and that is an industry right now that is experiencing a boom. So it's really sitting back and going, what does it look like? If we keep our eyes on our clients, I think it will make a huge difference as to how we define success in 2020. It's just like no other year that we've never known. The last 100 years, the world hasn't experienced anything like this. And the last 25 or so years have actually been years of relative prosperity
hmm
worldwide. So crisis of any kind it's totally new playing grounds. And I have to admit, we're all more or less putting one foot in front of another and defining success almost on a daily basis. And for me, it is that day when I'm able to put a smile on the face of the client, or just encourage that one more person. I'm making more phone calls than I ever did just to say, hey, how you doing? I'm not selling stuff so much. I think the sales will come. I truly think they will, when people know how genuinely and how deeply we care about them. I'm hoping that I'm not that was helpful. It's a very deep question, but that's the way it's sort of hit me. How about you, Kyle?
Yeah, there's a couple things that comes to mind. One is the surface piece, right? Like you just kind of said is, what stay focused on the prize, which is you're in business to do what? Whatever that is, you still have to do it because people are depending on you to still do it.
Mhm.
And there isn't anything wrong by checking in with people and asking, what is it that they need? Right? Sometimes you may not have the answer. And we've seen this time and time again when people would call and says, listen, I know you're busy. I know you have a lot of things and you're pivoting. You're doing all these things that are happening at you right now. But if you had an extra pair of hands, what would you do?
Mm.
And so sometimes that may not be anything you do in your business, but that could be, I know someone else who can help you with that. right? Or why don't I just show up and help you pack those things? It's not my business, but you know what, why don't I do, right? And so that truly exercise that care piece. The other thing about mental health is that, you know, we saw a few other experts that came on and talked about it specifically. We saw that sometimes it is a lot, right? Because you're dealing with personal, you're dealing with family, friends, and things that are happening in the world. Sometimes it's not even in your circle, but you will be drawn to it. We want to remind you, you need to access help. There are some great professionals in that field who's going to help you triage what's happening and be able to go from that. Because the other thing that it triggers is when you think of the fear of it blowing up. Like, think about that. You spend years building your business. You put a whole bunch of money into your business. There's a lot tied into this thing. And so the thought of it just vanishing, and it has happened to people, right? The thought of it going under or not anymore, and all these emotional things you attach to it, right, could go up in smokes. It doesn't always have to be that case, because you may be telling yourself a story that isn't true. So reaching out to a coach, a counselor, a therapist, or someone is going to allow you to triage that, or even your colleagues. Like the amount, I mean, Moji, you know this better than anyone, the access we have in our network that we don't even touch, like, it's still mind-blowing. And you hear me complain sometimes about this at the regional level, where I'm like, there's so much resources in BNI, and people do not tap other people on the shoulder and say, I think you do this, how can you help?
Absolutely.
Did that help, John? Yeah. That was a great one, because I think it's on everyone's mind, right, Moji, is what does that look like? How do I connect back into that? Which is, I think, is a big component of it. And then how do you know when, like, you know, to make that pivot? Because I think some people, I'm not sure if you heard this, Moji, but there's people still waiting. Like, there's still people waiting on the pandemic to end next week at 3:15,
Yeah.
right? So what do you say to them? Because I may have
I,
one or two words, but
I think that's a dangerous thing to do. I think we need to take a deep breath, assess, you know, I mean, we're all in different landscapes, you know, assess where it is that you're at, and begin to pick up the pieces and begin to put a foot in front of another, because we have no idea. This could be over today. This could be over in a week. There are people who've said months. We have no idea. And so to hold your breath at a time like this, I think could be very, very detrimental. Excuse me, very detrimental. And I agree with Kyle. Let's surround ourselves with, you know, like-minded people, mastermind with people, as to figure out what does the next step look like, and just keep putting that foot in front of the other. And if everything reopens in a week or a month or whatever, you're ready. You're not sitting around. Like, it's a lot easier to keep going once you've started than to start fighting inertia and trying to figure out things when we're back to business again. So yeah, please don't wait for this. Just do what you need to do. Keep serving your clients. Keep making a difference. Go back to your why. If you're doing the how you do it, the way you do your business is just the how of how you fulfill your mission. Go back to what your mission is, and you can always find a different how to fulfill that mission. If that
yeah.
makes, if hopefully
I
that
love
makes
that.
sense.
Another way of saying that too is just like answer that what if question, right? Because if you truly are telling yourself a story around, well, what if it fails? Okay, then answer that. What if it fails? Well, what if the people leave? Then what would you do? And what if we don't get sales? And what if we do? Like, all those what ifs. And I think that's where people get stuck on that how piece, right? Around what does that look like? Now, please know, Moji and I could speak for Moji on this, is that we're not saying it's easy, right? And you know, I've learned in my life many moons ago, it's neither easy or hard. It just is, right? So if you're just showing up knowing that I just have to do this work, this is what's necessary, right? Can you imagine if these frontliners as well, I know it's hard going into a burning building, and I don't think I want to do that today. Well, that could be your loved one in there that they could have been saving, right? So it's the work that's necessary, which is why you need to go back to that why, or why did you start the business to begin with? You know, what were you trying to accomplish to begin with? And once you know that, then the how of, okay, now how am I going to do that becomes. And you have a network of people, those who have employees. Pose that problem, pose that what if to them, because I can tell you from experience, they know. They're on the front line. They see it, they hear it, they're watching it, right? They will know, and your network will know that as well. But I agree with Moji. It is a dangerous place to be if you're waiting, right? And we know those folks, right? That wonder what happened, wish things to happen, and there's people who make things happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we all know if you're you're just going to prolong the mental anguish, the
Mm-hmm.
depression, all those things that has been attached to you. You will prolong it if you just are stuck, right? Because the moment, I think we saw that too in the government, and we don't even want to start this conversation about government, but we saw that with the government, with the moment they said, this is what's going to be for the next 2 months, people were like, okay, because that's what we need to know. But the moment you hear, okay, we'll see what tomorrow brings, okay, we'll see, then everyone is holding out. Remember, your customers, your employees, your vendors, people depend on you to be able to make a decision and follow it, right? And it doesn't mean you
Absolutely.
can't change it. Am I wrong, Moji?
Oh, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, again, yeah, we're reiterating as we go, right? But
Mhm.
you have to keep that growth mindset, which means, it's. I was actually just reading yesterday. There is no such thing as failure if you take it as feedback, right? That's one more thing not to do, right? And
Absolutely.
we keep growing with what we learn. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. There's our time. We look forward to see you next week talking about organization, our brains and our mind. Melanie Iguchi is going to be with us to virtually organizing that for those people who may have clutter, not only in their mind, but also in their
Mm.
space. She is phenomenal when it comes to that. So please stay tuned for that. And if you haven't registered, make sure you register until the end of the year. But please share that link when you get the email to someone says, hey, if you ever thought about organizing your life, your room, or anything like that, that would be a great opportunity for that as well. Thank you all. Have a fantastic week. Moji, thank you once
Thank you,
again.
Kyle.
Much
Thanks,
love.
everyone.
Okay,
Have a
talk to
great
you soon.
week. And
Bye.
bye bye.